Hey guys, what's up? Rick Bigger,
Mike McGonigal.
13th Man video for you. So,
Big weekend, huh?
yesterday,
Yeah, 2 days ago was this weekend.
2 days ago, we both got promoted. Both are now black belts.
Black belts.
Pretty cool.
We are now Jedi Masters sitting on the council. That's how I always looked at it.
I think that's a coral belt.
Coral belt? No, I always thought brown belt was like a Jedi Knight, and then black belt, that's a Jedi Master, and Masters get to sit on the council.
I don't know that much about Star Wars, so.
I watch Star Wars.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comments.
All right, that's enough nerd stuff. So, we talked about it a little bit. I made a video yesterday, I think. I don't remember. It's been a
Yeah,
long
driving
weekend.
home in your car.
I made one driving home because it's hard to, in the moment, it was hard for me to think about what to say.
It was hard. I was emotional.
I had a lot of people that were walking in and showing up, and I knew something was up.
Yep. My mom and dad showed up in the background. I was like, why is mom and dad here?
So I was trying not to cry in front of them.
That's
I
hard.
got a reputation to uphold.
I think I saw him cry though. I think I saw some tears.
I got to represent, you know? So I couldn't really get the words out that I was really thinking about. I got a little bit out. I mean, I made my point, but so I made another video later on the drive home, kind of telling a longer story.
It was good.
Even in that video, I probably left out 12 people at least.
Man, yeah. It's
When I got home, I realized that I left out a bunch of people too. But
I know. I had to go home and do some reflection. I was like, okay, what all happened? You know what I mean?
yeah, pretty cool, man. What a big time accomplishment. One of the last, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but one of the last bastions of true martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. True, takes a long time to get it. You can't really buy a belt. You can't run down and get one in a couple of years.
No.
You know, it takes about 10 years to get it. I think the minimum's 8. That's what they've established.
Yeah.
Long time, a lot of hard work, a lot of rolling, a lot of hours, a lot of grinding, a lot of dedication. So it was a big deal, and we're both really excited about it, obviously.
It's a really big day for me, man.
And it's a big deal for us because we pretty much always got promoted at the same time, all the way through.
As emotional it was when they called my name, it was even more emotional when they called your name.
It's a good picture, man, of me and you hugging afterwards. One of my favorite pictures. So really cool that we got to share that.
It's badass.
More than I thought about this too, more than anybody else, Christian would probably be a close second. But I've been tapped by you more than anybody else.
That's
in the
because
whole
I'm
world.
the baddest dude you know.
And also tapped you more times than anybody else.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no.
We train together the most.
No competition.
So it's obvious, but most hours on the mat together without a doubt.
We were the first to get up in the morning at 4 or 5 o'clock and go train every hour.
Yeah,
Remember those days?
a lot of years, man. A lot of training at 4:30. I remember whenever I used to work nights, and I would get off at midnight. You know, like a mid shift, working noon to midnight. I would get off at midnight and I would go sleep for 4 hours, and then come in. We'd open up the gym and we'd work out and we'd roll, just the two of us. And then we'd go to morning class, and then I taught an 8 o'clock class.
Yeah.
And then I would shower, go get food, go back to work at noon.
Yep.
It was my whole life outside of
How many times did we
Out of work.
quit and we talked each other back?
a lot.
How many times did, I was thinking, that's what I was thinking of the most in the journeys. How many times did I give up and Rick Bigger dragged me back and vice versa?
How many times were we rolling and got mad at each other?
Oh man, remember at the Alex Monslave seminar when we got mad at each other?
Yeah, Alex Monsalve.
We were going to,
Yeah.
Monsalve, we were going to hit a fight right in the middle of the
Yeah.
seminar.
Not a good look.
No, but hey, that's part of it. You know, you got to learn to control that stuff.
That was a big part for me, talking about my personal journey. A big part of it was learning to control my frustration, learning to harness all that passion that I had about
Yes.
grappling and put it towards the right things.
Yes, put that
Took me a long
passion in
time.
the right direction.
Sometimes when you're super passionate about stuff, you become obsessed with it. Also, you get frustrated with it easier because you want it to work out. You want it to be so good. And there were times whenever it wasn't working out for me or it was tough. And as I said during my black belt speech or whatever, I've quit probably more than anybody else in jiu-jitsu. Even burned a gi one time. I heard a story about Kurt Osiander, black belt under Half, out in in San Francisco. He tells a story about how he used to throw his gi away.
I did it one time. And then I heard that story and I was like, oh man, I ain't the only one.
I actually burned it.
Yeah,
burned my
you sent
belt.
me the
I
video.
made a video because you told me I wasn't serious about quitting.
Yeah.
I was like, no, seriously, I'm done. And you're like, no, you're not, whatever. So I burned my belt, put on a charcoal grill with lighter fluid and burned it.
I was
Sent you
watching
a
that video crying.
I'm like, I'm never going to train
You
again.
made me cry that day.
You're kind of emotional.
I am an emotional guy, but that's because I carry a lot of passion too. You know,
For sure,
especially
man.
for my friends. My friends and my brothers mean a lot to me.
So just interesting, I want to talk just a little bit about our journey. Obviously, we already are, but our journey and the different things that
We have
jiu-jitsu did for
completely
us.
different stories too. Different
It
reasons.
is, man. I think everyone starts training for a different reason. Everybody quits for a different reason or continues for a different reason. So along the journey, a lot of people's reasons change too.
Yeah, my reasons have changed. You know, when somebody goes, why'd you, oh man, I gotta think about it, because they've changed so much. You know, what brought me in the door is not what kept me in the door.
Yeah, you came in to fight
I wanted to just fight.
And-
I just wanted to fight.
and fought.
3 months in.
Yeah.
3 months of training, I went and
And
fought.
fought since and been successful.
Yeah, fought
And-
again on Logan's card.
But if
because-
most people thought about Mike McGonigal, they would think more sport.
Oh yeah.
Because you became more sport guy
Yeah.
as years went on.
Oh yeah.
But originally started as fighting and fought and were successful.
Yeah. And I had something in me from being bullied and picked on a little bit. And I'm not saying that I didn't bully and pick on too. There was moments in my
Sure.
life, but there was moments in my life where it was rough. And you carry that into life as an adult. And I was like, this has to go. These feelings, these emotions, these negative, dark, I have to beat them somehow. And I had to go face my fears. I had to go fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Face the bully.
I had to go face the bully. It was a good day. That was a good day.
It's pretty cool, man. It's a good insight. I think for me, I'm not even sure why I started again. I started originally when I was in the Corps, training on and off, and we had some guys that trained a little bit. And back then, 04, 05 time frame, you had like 1001 Submissions DVD. I remember that. My buddy Jeremy McPherson had it, and you could watch all the dudes in Brazil in the big tournaments go, and like you watch like John Jock, and it wasn't that far. It wasn't only 3 or 4 years before that he had won Abu Dhabi, and he was a big time guy then. And
Did you know about that stuff then, though?
as far as know about what?
Because I didn't know anything other than I saw the first 2 UFCs on VHS, and I knew Hoist Gray. That's it. I didn't know there was jiu-jitsu I didn't know it was anywhere in the world other than Brazil. We were calling gyms, like lifting weight gyms.
Yeah.
Do you train martial arts there? And they're like, what? Because we didn't know what to do, what's called.
I knew quite a bit. I mean, I always was interested in it because of my wrestling background. I mean, I started wrestling when I was 5, so I was interested in it. I remember when Hoist won the UFC, a lot of people, that was a big motivation for them.
That's what
That was the guy that, like, I hated Hoist Gracie. I couldn't stand him because he
Really?
was beating all the wrestlers.
Oh, yeah, because
So-
you had that attachment.
I was personally attached to wrestling.
Okay.
So I liked, like Dan Severn, I liked Don Fry a little bit later.
Dan Severn was one of my favorites back then.
Yeah, Ken Shamrock I liked a lot, and when Hoist beat Ken, well, I think also because I didn't know, just like everybody else, when they fought the first time, you see Ken out, he's in the the bikini shorts, the dude's a bodybuilder,
Yeah.
and he comes out, and you see Hoist, and you're like, oh, well, Hoist beat a couple people, but he's not going to beat this guy. This guy's legitimate. And they were talking about that Shamrock had quite a bit of experience, probably more fighting experience than anyone.
I knew more about him because I was a pro wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And I knew he had shot as a shoot fighter in pro wrestling in Japan a lot. So
Yeah.
I knew
So-
more about him than anybody else.
When Hoist tapped him super fast, I kind of thought it was a fluke, and everyone and Ken, maybe he doesn't have the highest integrity in the world. I think he lied a little bit about whether he tapped or not.
Yeah, there was
He
some
obviously
controversy
tapped
there.
out. But then they fought. They tried to fight later on. They ended up in a super fight
Yeah.
years later, and that's an interesting story how they tried to make that fight happen. And Ken trained a lot for that fight, and Hoist ends up winning, or it ends up being a draw. But the thing about it though is modern day, Ken Shamrock wins that fight decision. But in modern day, because there's no scoring back then, there's there's no round system and stuff.
Right.
But,
yeah, there was none of that. It was just two men get in the ring and you either fight.
Yeah, because it was over 30 minutes. I think it was over a half hour. But I didn't idolize Hoist. I didn't like him. I was like, we got to figure out a way to beat this guy. And I seen all the new guys coming in, the new wrestlers coming in, and like, one of these guys is going to beat Hoist eventually. You know, somebody's going to figure out a way to beat him.
I just wanted his superpower. Whatever it was, I wanted it. That's all I can remember thinking. Whatever that is, I want that.
But over the years, you know, I opened my mind more to it, and I tried it, and it intrigued me because I hadn't mastered it. You know, with wrestling, I could wrestle with a lot of really, really good guys and be fine. And I was never the best guy around or anything, but I could always compete. And for jiu-jitsu, I couldn't. Guys were beating me, and like guys that didn't make any sense were tapping me. So, you know, I trained some guys. I was always just interested in learning stuff. And I kind of on and off, back and forth for years. And then when I got out, I was like, man, I want to train more consistently, not just a couple, you know, once a week, twice a week. I want to train all the time. So I started looking around, traveling. A lot of it was just something to do when I got out of the Marines. I was super bored, and I was used to all this training every day, doing all this stuff, and I got out in this regular job, and I was super bored with life. So jiu-jitsu, I always liked being on the mat. I've been on mats like this since I was little. So I had to get back onto it, and I got back into it. And it took me a while until I fully embraced, you know, believing in it and training and not just being an anti-jiu-jitsu wrestler.
So did you avoid training the guard for a while? I mean,
as far as me being on bottom,
yeah, when
guard, I don't know that I ever avoided it intentionally, but my mind was wrestling. So I had to break that muscle memory to always turn to your stomach, always get to your base, always try to stand up, always want to be on top. But there was a time when eventually I made a conscious decision that I want my game to be more complete. And in order to do that, I'm just going to start on bottom. So there were months, I remember, but you see me do it, for months and months and months, I refused to be on top.
Yeah, I remember
I would always start on bottom, always start in the guard. And I trained in the gi all the time.
That's when I learned how to pass the guard, when you started doing that, because I had been a bottom guy the whole time because I couldn't get on top of this guy and Christian. And then this guy starts on his back to work on his guard, and then all of a sudden I learned how to pass guard.
That's where it works, man, when you're training partners. And I think it was big for me because it blew my game up. And now, if you grapple with me, my top game is always going to be my game, but my guard game may be better than my top game.
It feels like there's 60 arms around me in your guard.
The crazy thing too is you want to think about if you saw me and is that guy a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy? You would think I'm a jiu-jitsu guy originally.
You have the build.
Because I have the build
the
for
traditional.
that. And I don't have the traditional wrestling build.
No.
So when I finally embraced it and just ran with it, it worked for me big time because a lot of the stuff I built for that game.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
Man, so many stories.
Tons of them, man. No way to tell them all.
Tell about the first time we met when you out in the parking lot. Remember that?
Yeah. They were still at Christian was in Brazil.
Christian was in Brazil.
I just came home.
How'd you find us? We were hidden.
Yeah, it originally, I was just searching online, and the only gym back then was, I think, in Tulsa that was really publicized was Triton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in that area.
I think first, right?
Yeah, and then you had Blake was training back then, but their team, same thing, wasn't real publicized. They weren't really advertising big time.
There was kind of a mentality back then from talking to Christian and some of these other guys that there wasn't a lot of advertising because they just wanted the right guys to find it. And they figured the right guys will find it if it's less, you know what I mean? Because Christian was looking for the motivated guys that really wanted, the ones that are going to put the effort to find him are the ones who are going to stick around.
Or maybe he just sucked to build them up. So.
That could be true, couldn't it?
We know the truth, Christian. So I found a web page. We're not going to call it a website.
I know what you're talking about.
Because it was one page.
Like 2 or 3 pictures.
And it had like a picture of Christian and Dylan when he was like 14 or something.
Yeah.
And I think that was it. And then like a bunch of words, just like a paragraph. And it was like an address and a phone number. And I called the phone number. I think the phone number was disconnected. Christian probably got his phone turned off or something.
He was in Brazil too.
Yeah, he was in Brazil. Maybe he had it shut off. I don't know. I just assumed he didn't pay his phone bill. But so I got on Facebook and I messaged you on Facebook.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
I
right.
found this. I trained before. I trained for a while. I want to come train with you guys. I'm just moving back here, and ended up coming. You're like, "I'll just come tomorrow, whatever." So I came up there and met you in the parking lot, and you were super standoffish back then.
Was I?
Pretty. There was a lot of that back then in the gyms, and I always expected that, because I travel a lot. I traveled with work back then when I was welding, and I probably trained at 30, 40 gyms. I don't even know, a lot.
I was a brand new blue belt. You can't hold that against me.
So I always kind of expected that when I went to a new gym. It's not like it is today, where you come to new gyms and most people now are just like super inviting people in.
They hug you the first day.
Back then, like you came in and you had to worry, like, am I gonna get out here to get my ass kicked or what? There were some rough dudes that were
find out what this guy's got.
Yeah, and a lot of people were really into fighting back then.
Yeah.
And you had to be careful going in a gym that you didn't just turn into a punching bag. But
It wasn't like that once you got in there, though, was it?
no, man, you guys were all cool, and it was you, and you had Holland back then, and Dylan was around, Tony B was around. What's the name of that gym now? It was like Ultimate Fitness or something.
Yeah, it's just a workout gym over there behind the Waffle House.
Yeah.
It was a TG and a Y when I was a kid.
You guys were in the very back.
Yep.
And then, I don't know, I was there for a couple of weeks or something, and you guys were moving.
Mm-hmm.
Christian came back from Brazil, and I met him, and he was super cool because I had a Gracie Baja gi because I came from Drax, and I had that Gracie
That's
Baja
right.
gi still, and he was like, "Oh man, Gracie Baja,"
And a
and
white
I'm John
belt.
Jock, and da 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 da, you know, and he was just like immediately he's like, "Oh well, you know some stuff then if you train with those guys."
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, and we just kind of ran with that, man. And we've been this is like Clinch 4.0 or something now.
Yeah, we're on
He
the
has now.
fourth gym. I found him, like I said, we were calling just gyms. And I called, I think it was All American now. It's 10 Gym now, or it's closed down. And the guy that answered the phone had fought an MMA fight, had knew Christian, had been trying to get him to come teach a class there. So he's like, "Yeah, we got jiu-jitsu right here." So we just went there and signed up. They didn't have jiu-jitsu, they didn't have mats. They had a yoga room, and we started rolling with this guy who had fought one fight, maybe trained 3 or 4 months, knew 4 or 5 moves basically, but he was a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
We just signed up, started learning from him because we just knew we wanted to learn.
Yeah.
Finally, Christian shows up, and I thought I had the illusion that I was a tough guy. You know what I mean? I grew up, I rodeoed, I played football, I wrestled, I'd been in through a few scuffles. And then I realized that day, that row with Christian, I felt what I saw from Hoist Gracie. You know what I mean? I felt the superpower that I dreamed of, because training with this other guy, I didn't feel that. Just a big, strong guy that was just kind of throwing me down.
Yeah.
And then Christian shows up, and I was just blown away. No matter how many times, because back then I was just roar and I'd just jump on you.
Yeah.
You know, he'd beat me, and I'd roar and jump on him again. You know, and that's how I met Christian and started training with him at his gym.
Yeah.
Dylan was there, little Dylan.
Yeah.
I put him in this reversed arm bar from over his head and was pulling on his arm, and he's just laughing at me. He goes, "That ain't gonna work. I'm gonna make it work." He just kept laughing at me.
Dylan's got to be Dylan Scott, man. He had to be a black son himself.
Yes,
But
he's a stud.
that guy's he's got to be one of the hardest guys to choke ever.
Oh man, you never could choke that little sucker. He's the one that did this to my ear too, by the way. Thanks, Dylan.
I would darce that guy every day and guillotine him every day forever, and you have to almost break his neck for you to tap.
He don't
And
got
then
no
he would
neck.
say, "Oh, that was a crank. That wasn't
Yeah,
a choke."
yeah, it's a
That was
crank.
used to make fun of him. That was a crank. Doesn't count. He's so funny, man.
For a long time, he was the pizza slice guy. If you could choke him, you got the pizza.
Yeah. He was tough, man.
Man, what else? After, so we found jiu-jitsu, we trained, and we quickly became, I don't know what you want to call it, the mat enforcers. That was our job.
Yeah.
We got to roll with all the bullies. Those were fun times.
I couldn't do that anymore. I'm too old.
No, I don't want to be the mat enforcer anymore.
I used to roll with everyone, man, and just everyone that would come in the door, and it was pretty cool. It was good times back then.
It was good times, man. I just got obsessed with it.
I got a good story before.
Go ahead.
Good jiu-jitsu story before I met you guys. I don't even remember what year this was, but I was in Hawaii.
This is a good story if it starts in Hawaii.
And I went to this, I wanted to go check a gym out.
Okay.
So I went to, I can't remember the guys. I'll think of it and I'll put it in the comments later. But this dude, he trained with BJ Penn for a long time.
That's who I was thinking of when you said Hawaii.
And he's a tall, skinny guy. He fought in the UFC a couple times too. But I went there and I grappled with him, and he was obviously good. He was a black belt, and he was a really good one. But I was such a good wrestler, I was taking him down, just hold him down the whole time. And I'd kind of figured out that jiu-jitsu was about moving your hips and stuff. Now I just hold his hips the whole time, just hold on to him. And I had about 40 pounds on him, so. And but he would move me around a little bit. You know, he would win, but I could be competitive with him, and I really thought I was doing something. And he was like, "Well, let me train with somebody else." I was like, "Okay, cool." And it was this woman. She was a black belt. No idea what her name was. I wish I knew her, man. It would be great. But she was a black belt. And so I started rolling with her, and she almost taps me like really fast, really close, like gets me in this weird choke. I'm like, "Whoa." And so I started getting like, and turning it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be by this girl. And I'm just dominating her, top, mounting her, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm smoking this girl. Whatever, it's what you get for almost choking me." You know? And, she trap and rolls, escapes me, and like passes my guard at the same time. I don't even remember what happened. We get in this weird scramble, and she puts this choke on me that is like the tightest choke I've ever been in my life. I can't get out of it, and I'm panicking. I'm like, "You're not tapping. Don't tap. Don't tap." And I'm just fighting for my life. And I wake up, and she's like patting me on the chest, and she said, "You're okay. It's okay." She's rubbing
You
my
probably
chest.
needed that, Rick.
"You're okay." And I think that was one of the days where this is real. I mean, I was like 215, 220 pound dude, and you know, all-American football player and a Marine and a tough dude, and this chick just put me to sleep.
Just got
and I had
by the superpower.
I had to have 100 pounds on her,
Oh,
and she
sure.
put me to sleep, and then woke me up and was super nice about it. And if I saw one of my guys training with a girl like that now, regardless of their rank, man, I would be pissed. If I saw him training with anybody that way,
How rough.
I was so rough with her, and just completely using my strength to try to beat her and being super dirty. And but looking back, it's funny how something like that. That's how China Jiu-Jitsu is, man. If you're not humble, you'll get humbled.
You will be humble.
It doesn't really matter who you are.
It doesn't. There's
you'll get
someone's going to
humbled.
show up one
Somebody
day.
will come in and humble you.
I have to tell this story a little bit because my jiu-jitsu journey, if I don't mention how I met my wife, you know, that's, I'm going to cry,
huge,
I'm going
huge
to cry
part.
talking about it, but I went to Triton one day and I saw the most beautiful woman in the world sitting behind the counter. I fell in love with her that day. I'm not even playing.
I remember
come
you
home.
talking about her,
I came and told you and Christian. And so immediately, I couldn't even hardly talk to her, you know. I was trying to play cool and just, you know, I'm here to train.
Yeah.
And of course, as soon as I get in and start training, I start talking to the twins and 300 and Sunshine. "Hey, man, what's the story?" And I kept getting shot down by, "No, off limits. She don't date nobody. It's worthless." But I made up my mind, just like I made up my mind when I started training. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
You make up your mind and you just stay with it. And she comes in the clinch one day. This is probably months and months and months
long
later.
time.
It was a while, but I was patient.
Because you weren't there.
I wasn't
The
there.
first day she came.
That's right.
I was there.
You were there. I was so angry. I was so angry.
I
But
remember she came in, and I was like, "Oh, this is that girl that Michael
yeah,
is.
yeah.
That's her."
And then I just started chasing her right then, because now she's in the gym. Now I can start talking to her and let her know, "Hey, I'm taking you. You're going out with me."
You guys went out like
Mhm.
quickly.
Yep. I started. She wasn't sure at first. She blew me off a few times.
I mean, she's a lot better looking than you.
Yeah, she is a lot better looking than me. I'm way out of my league.
So, yeah, I remember that. It's a
And
big deal.
then finally, man, we hook up. Our first date was Mexican food, which this is a secret, guys. Girls love tacos. Just saying. And jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Give her tacos and then go roll with her. And I kissed her that first day rolling, halfway through the roll.
Well, very, very much longer. You guys were married.
And then, yeah, I married her, made her mine, asked her to marry me on the mat.
Yeah, I remember.
And man, so my jiu-jitsu journey has grew me up, brought me my wife, brought me some of my best friends, give me the courage to do so many things in life, you know, just to not be scared of stuff. Just go try it. Worst thing happens is you screw up and you learn, and you get to take that experience the next time you go try it. So, man, we could tell these stories all day. We got a bunch of
Jiu-jitsu
them.
stories, man.
Man,
It's such a big deal, man, hitting on that, what jiu-jitsu, all these great stories and friends and people, and that jiu-jitsu's brought us. It brought us together, brought you and your wife together. It gave me another second family. It's such a big deal of all the things it can do. John Jock hit on it during the seminar. He wants you to take what you learn on the mat, take all these lessons, take those out into life, and just enrich your life, man. Use this stuff. That's really true. We forget that sometimes. We get too much into how much better we're getting and how fast we're getting promoted. And I tell people all the time, man, I have guys that train with me or that they're a lot of guys that are Christians guys, but I spend day in, day out on the mat with them, because they're my size or whatever. And sometimes they confide in me that, well, I'm ready to get promoted, or I don't think I was ready to get promoted, or, I don't think I'm getting any better, or all these different things. And it's very difficult, and I'm one of the world's worst, but a lot of it's just about patience and let things fall into place. Just keep training, keep grinding, and things will work themselves out.
Yep, just keep working hard.
I remember when I was still a white belt after training for years, and I was going to tournaments and smoking people, and people are like, man, this guy is not a white belt. And when I got promoted, and so Christian right away, he corrected it and got me caught up and promoted me pretty quickly.
Yep.
And I went to my maybe third or fourth tournament with you guys, and lost to a black belt by 1 point in the finals. Submitted 2 brown belts.
That was a good
I
one.
tore my meniscus that day and finished the tournament, and lost to a relatively famous brown belt or a black belt by 1 point. And he ran from me, and you know who you are. Fled the mat. So it and there are people that, well, there's no way that you're this, and there's no way that you're that, and you should get credit for this, and you wrestle for all this time. And I'm not gonna lie, there's times when I felt that way too. But the reality is that the journey was perfect for me, and things work out, and you just got to be patient. And I didn't get any better 2 days ago when I put that black belt on. Nothing changed. 2 days ago I was a brown belt, and then today I'm a black belt. And my technique didn't change.
No.
My skill level didn't change. The belt, why it's very important, and is a representation of a lot of hard work, it doesn't change anything about you. You're still who you are. I used to say this all the time when people would talk about belts, and is the only black belt I care about is this. Right? That's always been my saying. Right? If you have some of this, you're probably legit. If you don't, maybe not. Or you just wear headgear. You're smart. But the belt is relatively, in the grand scheme of things, is not that important. You could have taken the belt out of the ceremony yesterday and just told me that I was promoted to black belt, or told me that I was now an expert in jiu-jitsu, or whatever you want to call it, and it would have meant the exact same thing. The belt is just a representation of that. So just be patient, don't get caught up on that stuff, and just really just keep training, and that's really what matters. One of the Dirty Dozen, man, one of the original 12, I can't remember his name right now. Same thing, I'll have to put it in the comments, give him credit for it, but he said, it's not who's better at the end, it's who's left.
That's right.
So
Survivors.
important. Just who is left in the end. I've probably trained with 100 guys that have quit,
Yeah.
that never came back and gave up.
Probably more than that.
Maybe 1,000.
I
And
think there's a bunch of
it's
them.
just about who's left, and we're left. That's all it is. If you want to talk about guys that have been around, you want to go to the original guys and get into the Hicksons and the Horians and the John Jocks and the Hoyces and the Hoylers and all those original dudes. Think about how many people they've trained with that have quit.
I want
Think
to.
about a coral belt, 25 years as a black belt.
Oh man, there's no.
About a red belt.
A lifetime of training.
Those guys have trained with hundreds of thousands of people that have quit.
I want to focus a little bit on that quitting thing, because it's not always a negative thing. Some people come to jiu-jitsu and they get what they need in a certain amount of time to go out into the world and do what John Jock says. Because I've seen guys come in, train for a month, train for 6 months, train for a few years, And when they leave, you're wondering where they're going. Then you find out later they started a new business.
Sure.
They met the woman of their dreams.
Yeah, the black belt's not for everyone.
Yeah, you don't have to stay around for the black belt, but you need to stay long enough to get what you need out of it. And what you need is personal, and no one can tell you. You got to come find it.
That's a good point.
But it's there. It's waiting right here on these mats.
I'll tell you. So, let me expand on that, man. My personal story. So much of my life, man, I can look back and I had this teacher, and I'm not going to name her because I'm not going to name drop on her 20 years later. But wherever she is, I said this earlier, I don't care, okay? Because I remember this day till the day I died, right? I remember Michael Jordan, when he was doing his Hall of Fame speech, he was still mad at his 9th grade basketball coach or something for not starting him. Right? And I'm not that upset at her about this, but the reality is what happened. But I remember when I was a kid, and this woman told me I'll never amount to anything. I'll never be successful. I'll never do any of the stuff that I've done. And she's the one that stands out to me. But there's a lot of them. And you'll meet these people in life, the naysayers of the world, that'll tell you that you can't do this or you can't do that, and that is nonsense. Because as I said before, you get to write your own story. That's the bottom line. You write it, not anybody else. And fuck those people.
That's right.
Just fuck what they think about you. You put your head down and you keep grinding and you do what you want. And if you would have told her or even me that day that I'm going to be an All-American football player, I'm going to be a Marine, I'm going to be a paramedic, be a firefighter, be a husband, I'm going to be a father, I'm going to be a great friend, I'm going to own my own company and teach self-defense to hundreds of people, I'm going to own my own gym that I'm sitting in right now that we're going to teach thousands more out of, and I'm going to be a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you're going to tell me or her that, I would have told you that we were crazy, right? But the motivation from that realizing that I can dictate who I want to be, and I can dictate what I want to do with my life, and that I don't have to be a victim of circumstances that happen to me, and I can get up and make a decision that I can change all that, and I did, and I'm very proud of it. And that belt to me is a representation of that. The belt is a
I don't quit.
It's just a representation of that journey. I had a wrestling coach when I was in high school. He told me I had no heart.
Man.
One, I wish he was here. I would find out. But he might have been right.
At that time?
He might have been right at that time.
Maybe.
And I know this guy personally still. I still talk to him. I talked to him not too long ago. But he told me I had no heart. And I remember it crushed me. Wrestling when I was a kid, I cared about it so much. And it didn't work out for me. For whatever reason, I never got it figured out. A lot of talent got wasted for a lot of reasons. But it never fully worked out. But I can tell you right now that you can go get 99.9% of the guys that were in the state tournament my senior year and put them in this gym, and I'll wipe the floor with you. Because I never quit training. You guys quit a long time ago. I never quit. You can bring that coach in here right now, and I'll wipe the floor with him too. Right? And not only that, but afterwards I'll sit down and I'll explain to him how that's not how you motivate people.
Yeah, that's
right?
not a proper.
Because I've learned a whole lot more about leadership and about life on these mats than I ever learned about grappling. These mats have taught me so much. And I tell people this as well. These mats have saved my life twice. These mats have.
Yeah.
Once was literally, right? Everybody knows my story.
Mm-hmm.
These mats let me go home from work one day when I shouldn't have.
That's right.
Right? Beyond that, these mats gave me an outlet to get rid of anger and frustration and depression and problems I had with alcohol after the war, after getting out of the Corps. These mats gave me the outlet that allowed me to deal with that. And they took my life that was going in a bad direction and completely turned it around, and they built the person that I am. I've learned more in a 5-minute roll on these mats than just about myself. And I can tell you that coach that said I got no heart, you got no heart, man. He might have been right when he said it, but he's not right now. I can turn this clock on for 66 minutes and I can roll with Christian Durr for over an hour and you can't break me. I can build this business. I can be successful. I can work 3 jobs and go to paramedic school. I can do a whole lot of stuff, and these mats are what gave me the foundation that built all that. So extremely, extremely big deal for me, and that belt is a representation of all that. And the title of professor is simply an opportunity to take all those lessons and get a platform to go teach more people, because there's other kids out there like that.
There you go.
And I've always said, man, that there's a lot of people that like to teach cops self-defense stuff. I do
Right.
too.
Right.
It's necessary, big time necessary.
It's something that needs to
Right.
be done.
Somebody's got to reach troubled kids,
Yes,
or you'll never have enough cops to deal with it.
that's right.
Right.
Watching kids grow up in a jiu-jitsu gym is an amazing thing.
And these mats for me, when I was troubled, they changed who I was, so I know they can change other people. And I'm just super excited about being able to do that.
Yeah,
And
I think
that's the story in a nutshell.
one of the greatest gifts you can give anybody, especially a parent, is to put their kid in jiu-jitsu. You can't give them a better education to handle life. I mean, there's other things out there. Don't get me wrong. You
Yeah.
search for other things, but for me, from my personal experience,
This is it.
this is the greatest gift you can give anybody.
Put them on a wrestling team.
Put them on a
When
wrestling
they're a little
team.
kid.
Stick
Put
them in a
jiu-jitsu
jiu-jitsu gym.
You know, give them something to do.
Watching little kids come in that have no self-confidence, they don't know who they are yet. You know what I'm talking about. They won't
Yeah.
even look at you. 3 months, 6 months later, they got gold medals, a big old smile. They look you in the eye. They talk to you like an adult. It's an amazing thing. And it watching students and kids succeed after you spent time with them and know that you're a little piece of that. You're a little piece of that,
it's
right?
Such a big deal, man.
Oh wow, it makes me want to. I want to get emotional thinking about it.
Big time. It's hard not to be emotional, man. We'll try to wrap this up, but it's hard not to be emotional. And it's hard not to talk about it forever because it's such a big deal. It's been an emotional weekend. I was exhausted yesterday, and I didn't even hardly do any that much Saturday,
know.
man. I just from all the emotions that are out into it, and then afterwards, after it happened, so much celebration and just happiness. It drained me, but a lot of cool jiu-jitsu stories. A lot of cool talk about our path, man. So whatever your path is, man, go lead it. Everybody can be here. Not anything special about myself or about Mike, especially about Mike. He's a
When you come into a jiu-jitsu gym for the first time, it's scary. I know people have told me stories that they would come and sit in the parking lot for weeks and just watch class if they walked in. And then when they walked in the first time and met us and rolled with us and talked to us, they're like, man,
So much different.
they spent so many weeks out there being scared of it, and they come in one day and they felt like when they left, they already had
One of
family.
the nicest people in the world in here.
Because we want to help. We're not here to bully or pick on or make fun of. We're here to build up, make you better. That's all we're here for.
That's it, man. That's all I got.
That's all I
Anything
got.
else?
Christian Durr, thank you. Mom and Dad, thank you. And I love you, Melissa. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, baby.
Hands down, man. From the very beginning, every one of you guys from those 30 schools I'm going to forget about. I ever trained in your place. You're part of my journey. Mike here, huge. Christian, obviously, huge guy. Gave me 150 second chances. My wife, man, to Aubrey, and my daughter, Sky. You guys you're the rock. You're the foundation for me. You guys have sacrificed the time for me to get here too. So many nights when I was gone training for years where I trained every day. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Just everyone. I'm going to forget another dozen. I'm not even going to try. But if you're a part of my journey, and I just huge appreciation of it. I don't care if I rode with you one time. I've learned something from almost everybody I've ever rolled with.
That's right. That belt is not just says Mike's a black belt. There's a little piece of everybody I've ever met, rolled with, competed with, talked to, trained with. Thank you all of you, the Triton guys.
Yeah. Every school, man.
All of them, all those schools, man. I've met so many great dudes here.
just, you know who you are, man. So we appreciate it.
We love you, man.
That's it. Rick Bigger,
Mike McGonigal.
13th Man, Northside BJJ. Come out and see us. We'll catch